For 50 million, I go to hell. For 50 million, I go to hell. For 50 million, I go to hell.
This is Shannon Sharpe, 3-time Super Bowl champion and Pro Football Hall of Famer, and most recently, a media powerhouse of millions of fans across ESPN, YouTube, and anywhere you can find a podcast. This dude's charisma is undeniable. Even if you don't like sports, if you're like me and you could care less about the sports world, his takes are always going viral, he's always saying something ridiculous, and he's always making somebody laugh and clip his stuff. But now, he's being accused of some of the most heinous crimes imaginable. Sexual assault, coercion, secret recordings of sexual intimacy, and on top of that, a $10 million hush deal to make it all go away. Allegedly. Here's a full timeline of the whole ordeal. Let's get into it. It's 2023, and 19-year-old fitness model Gabriella Zuniga is a fitness model in LA. She's got a modest following on OnlyFans and pretty big dreams. Wait, hold up. 19 in 2023? Ain't no way. Hold on. Oh, wow. Dang, it's not looking good. Not looking good for Shannon. Anyway, in LA, that's where she says she meets Shannon Sharpe, at a gym in LA. Apparently, he rizzed her up, they started texting and talking and then ultimately dating, and according to Zuniga, that would be a relationship that would last over 2 years. But also, according to her, behind the dates and the charm, she said something was not right. Something was way more sinister beneath the surface. She said it wasn't long until Sharpe started trying to control her and making threats against her, and in October 2024, that's when she says he first assaulted her. Allegedly, he followed her home one night and then forced himself upon her, and then allegedly, it did not stop there. She says in January 2025, just a few months later, that he actually did it again after that. She says that he had came over under the guise of trying to drop off a gift, and when she opened the door, allegedly he forced himself in and on her, and then the assault happened again. Zuniga also claims that Sharpe recorded them having sex without her consent, and also shared those recordings with other people without her consent, which is ultimately what led her to lawyer up. Now, this is where Tony Buzbee comes in. If you don't know who Tony Buzbee is, he is currently a high-profile lawyer. Most recently, he's known for representing accusers in high-profile sexual misconduct cases against high-profile black men. His most recent cases include the likes of Deshaun Watson, P. Diddy, obviously, and Jay-Z. Together, Buzbee and Zuniga, they sued Shannon Sharpe to the tune of $50 million. Now, what's worse is that after this lawsuit became public, it came out that Sharpe tried to pay Zuniga over $10 million to keep quiet about the whole thing. Now, obviously, the question everyone is thinking is, if Shannon is innocent, why would he offer her $10 million? Is it fair or bad press, or maybe just trying to do damage control? Or is it exactly like Zuniga says, and he's trying to cover up his wrongdoing? It's definitely a fair question, and we'll circle back to it later, but all you need to know right now is that Zuniga did not take that $10 million deal, obviously. As far as Shannon's response to the lawsuit, him and his team are calling it a clear shakedown. He went on his show and claimed his innocence, as you can see here.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Buzbee, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Buzbee targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty.
And he even went as far as to release some consensual text messages between the two of them, which obviously I'm not going to read here as my mother-in-law is on this app, but we'll reenact them for you. PG version, obviously.
November 23rd, 2023. I want to put my tongue in your and then marry you. January 12th, 2024. That's my I want you to put a big on me. August 6th, 2020. You better crave it because you're going to be stuck with it for life after you put
Anyway, Sharpe has also gone on to say that that $10 million offer was not an admission of guilt and just him trying to avoid a public scandal, which they have clearly failed to do. As far as where we stand now, Shannon Sharpe has stepped away from his show on ESPN, and we're in a classic he said, she said situation, and really we won't know until the courts decide, which could be a while from now. But I think we need to circle back to the big question, which is this a shakedown? Obviously the answer isn't clear cut, but maybe. But before that, I do want to publicly state that these claims are very serious, and if she's telling the truth, I very much hope that she gets justice. But for those who are on Team Sharpe, I can certainly see why they think it's a shakedown, because the timing certainly raises some eyebrows. I say that because just a few weeks before this whole thing went public, before she requested the $50 million lawsuit, Shannon Sharpe's podcast was valued at $100 million. The other thing is that this lawsuit wasn't filed as a criminal case, it's a civil suit, which means that she's not pushing for jail time at all. One would think that if a violent crime occurred, that you would want to push for jail time and not just money. But, you know, I can see both sides of that. They were in a relationship, and I don't know, maybe there's some still feelings there. She doesn't want to ruin his career completely. I don't know, there'd be a plethora of reasons, but I just thought that was interesting. But that aside, let's address the other elephant in the room. Is Shannon offering her $10 million to keep quiet proof that he's guilty of something? I can certainly see why people would think so, but I would say maybe not necessarily, given Shannon's position. So yeah, the thing is, like, Shannon works for ESPN, which is owned for Disney, so I could understand why Shannon would not want his debauchery out on the streets for the public review, especially if he worked for the Mouse, you know. That's something I could definitely see why he'd want to avoid. He did not avoid that, obviously, but I can see why he'd want to. I do think there's one thing he's absolutely guilty of, though, and that is playing in this now.
Snow Bunny Shannon Sharpe, you're the biggest and strongest of everybody on the list, so I'm going to have to sentence you for 10,000 lashes for conduct unbecoming a black man and saying that no black woman can make you happy. 10,000 lashes for Snow Bunny Shannon Sharpe. Who else we got on this list?
Now, obviously, I'm just joking, but I will say, this is not the first time he's facing these allegations. It's concerning. Back in 2010, he was sued by another woman, Michelle Evans, for sexual assault after being in a relationship with him also. I believe the case was eventually dropped, but I'm just saying, the pattern is there, and it's a little concerning. Now, going back to Zuniga, I'm going to be that guy. I know 19 is technically an adult, but I don't know anybody who's like over 30 who actually like legitimately believes that. Like, would you want your 19-year-old daughter or son talking to a 52-year-old man or woman? I don't think so. The power dynamics there are just like off. It's insane. I would never ever think that's an equal footing relationship. So even if Shannon Sharpe didn't do this stuff, and I hope he didn't, but you know, you never really know with these people. He is still suspicious on that part alone. You know, I don't think 52-year-olds should be talking to 19-year-olds in general. So anyways, with that, you are all caught up. I gave you all the info, the lowdown, and my opinions as well, even though I didn't ask for them. This is Bridging the Gap. I'm your host, Vermillion. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. All right, bye.